We all love Fallout, with its open world, post-apocalyptic environment full of unique characters and encounters. We all enjoy the fictional side of Fallout 4. Aliens, mutated creatures and abominations, flying airships and even mecha robot armies. But what if we took all the fictional elements that Fallout 4 has and got rid of them like we did Megaton? Can we beat Fallout 4 while escaping from Tarkov? If you're familiar with this channel, then you know I like to set down some ground rules before we begin any challenges. The rules for this challenge are simple and straightforward. Escape from FallKov. Escape from FallKov is a mod collection found on the Nexus website created by Nyron. As Nyron mentions in the collection's description, I made this mod because I'm not Chad enough for the real deal, but I didn't want to be playing the same old Fallout 4. And I feel that. So with 152 mods loaded and basically 1 HP to our name, let's jump straight into it. The vault section played out the same until the very end, where rather than receiving a 10mm pistol, I got an M1911 instead. I knew this challenge was going to be fun as soon as I had this zombie killer in my hands. As most playthroughs go, we climbed outside the vault, admired the stunning graphics, talked to Codsworth, and made our way to Concord to rescue Greston Parvey. So far, I was about 10 minutes into the run, and this was my first real encounter, and holy shit was it hard. I mean, I was expecting this, but the damage multiplier is tenfold. I managed to get myself a spaz to even out the odds a little bit, and then a pop-up menu nearly killed me. It turns out that one of the mods in this collection prevents the game from freezing time when you pause or when a pop-up happens. That mod is called Fall Souls, and if that doesn't tell you enough about this mod's difficulty, then I don't know what will. After blasting my way through the Museum of Freedom and eating hundreds of bullets, I realized that another mod in this collection adds the ability to lean. So I removed VATS from Q and then assigned lean to Q and E instead. I feel like this adds to the realism of the challenge. I was getting the hang of this collection a bit more as I played, and after talking to Preston and picking myself up a saw, I could tell the real fun was just about to begin. At this point on most playthroughs, you'd be able to use the saw or minigun to mow down enemies, but not this one. Even with an extremely powerful weapon in my hands, fighting off the raiders and the Deathclaw at the end still proved challenging. After saving Preston and with PTSD from all my other playthroughs, I shipped him up north and began my journey to Diamond City. I met a lovely trader named Carla on the way, and I thought we were having a good conversation until we got interrupted. After dealing with our interruption, I was about to go back to our conversation, but she had disappeared. With Carla's death on my conscience, I felt I had to redeem myself by stopping a drug deal up ahead. Normally this is a walk in the park, but these guys messed me up pretty good and nearly killed me. I sold all their items to Trudy, tried out my new SV sniper rifle, and then stormed Hangman's Alley. I was getting more confident with the combat, but that didn't mean shit because enemies just kept getting more difficult the lower down the map I went. After expending all my ammo in Hangman's Alley, I made my way into Diamond City and did some trading with the local vendors. Ellie told me that Nick had been kidnapped and wouldn't give me caps for finding him, because my character is the most uncharismatic halfwit ever born. I knew Park Street Station was going to be tough before I even went inside. There are hundreds of triggermen, and this time they don't have their regular Tommy guns. The first few enemies alone were giving me enough grief, but it was extremely fun with this new playstyle. So fun. I am having so much fun. For once I actually had to be versatile with my weapons, changing from my pistols to ARs to sniper rifles to take them all down. The lean ability helped me out a lot here, but I wasn't at much of an advantage because the realistic interior lighting was more detrimental than helpful. I took my time going through the subway, picking off triggermen here and there, and made my way inside the vault. Dean away to full mag and then some before I even decided to flinch. I think my bullets tickled him more than anything. Turns out that Dino wasn't the toughest triggerman either, because after saving Nick, I met a man I nicknamed the Bullet Sponge. After dumping a few mags into him and then attempting to kill his sleeping brother, Nick and I made it outside and were confronted by Skinny. I listened to the dialogue for all of 20 seconds before I got bored and threw a nade at Skinny's head. This fight took way more out of me than I was expecting. I'm a low level and already a good percentage through the main questline, so these guys are tough. After eradicating Skinny and his triggermen, Nick and I went back to Diamond City where I sold all 8 million of my SMGs and 1200 5mm ammo. Nick told me to go rob the key to Kellogg's house, but McDonut wouldn't take my bribes. So I asked Geneva to take her clothes off for a few caps. Nothing to do with getting Kellogg's key, I just wanted to see some animated tit. Speaking of Geneva having a good time, if you're having a good time as well, why not hit that subscribe button down below so you get notified when I upload in the future. Don't forget to enable all notifications too. After searching Kellogg's, Dogmeat and I made our way to Fort Hagen. I got destroyed by a legendary radstag, which was quite embarrassing, and then I spent the next 20 minutes in real time killing a super mutant brute. He had an explosive weapon and managed to kill me a few times, but I kept going because I knew I'd come out of it with an explosive weapon. Somehow, even though the mutant had one, when I eluded him it wasn't explosive at all. With 152 mods in this collection, it's no surprise that the game has a huge graphical overhaul. Yet somehow I was still surprised at how beautiful the forest looked compared to the original. Turns out the game saw me gawking at its beauty and got shy, because next thing I knew it was pitch black. How realistic. My confidence grew too much before I got to Fort Hagen because I decided to stop into the Greater Mass Blood Clinic. What was feasting on all of this blood in the clinic, you ask? The biggest blood bug I've ever seen. This fight took about 15 minutes real time. I died so many times and used every single one of my heals and all of my ammo. The loot wasn't even worth it after killing the blood bug, so I went to a last resort to get some gratification for killing it. I managed to discover Fort Hagen, but after my fight with the world's biggest blood bug, I had to go loot up and find some meds and ammo for the Fort Hagen fight. I decided to go back to some old friends for help. A few old friends that had no regard for clothing, it seemed. Rice did make me laugh showing up randomly naked though. Dance and I headed out to ArcJet systems. It was pissing rain the entire time we were out, but this weather mod made it extremely immersive. I almost forgot I had an objective while walking and looting. After enjoying my immersive walk through the rain, I blew the heads off a few raiders and Dance and I made our way inside ArcJet. I upgraded my AUG in here and then proceeded to destroy absolutely every synth with it. Just like George or Martin, I killed them all. Every single one of them. This is exactly why I came to ArcJet. Dance and I left with hundreds of bullets for my AUG as well as a dozen or more different AUGs. After looting the weapons off of every synth in ArcJet, I sold them all in Diamond City and stocked up on stim packs. I was ready for Kellogg now. It turns out that was a lie, because I lasted about 20 seconds in Fort Hagen before being obliterated. I died more times than Sean Bean here, but after harnessing the power of PUBG and learning to lean a bit more, I managed to get through the first section and underground. Now it was time for the big fight. With my newly acquired AUG and hundreds of bullets at my disposal, this fight wasn't a fraction as difficult as I'd imagined it. Although Dogmeat did eat half of my shots. It might have been an easy fight, but I still had to make sure Kellogg was dead. As Columbus says in Zombieland, don't get all stingy with your bullets. So I shot Kellogg in the head and dismantled him to be sure he was dead. With Kellogg's brain in my backpack and his hand up my stored away, I made my way to Good Neighbor to meet Nick at Memory Den. This game makes it really easy to barter since the mod adds so many different weapons to the game. You're constantly picking up guns and ammo that are worth quite a bit. Now you do have less carry weight and items are more expensive, but I feel like it's still easier than the base game. I went to Dr. Amari for another nap, leveled up the commando perk, stole a fat man off Cleo while they were at the town hall, and then made my way to Concord to get my power armor. Our next objective was to enter the glowing sea to find Virgil. As it normally goes, I didn't have a fast travel point close to the glowing sea, so I was on foot. Mad that I had to walk, I took my anger out on some muties along the way, which was a big mistake. Call me an idiot for not thinking that big green giant mutated abominations would be so strong. Luckily, a brute super mutant gave up after fighting me for so long and let me end him. I became a big daddy, destroyed a Deathclaw, decimated a few rad scorpions, and then eradicated the children of Adam. I figured since they weren't needed in this playthrough, I might as well have some fun and take them out silently. The mods introduced in this collection make the gunplay extremely fun, makes me a little trigger happy in most scenarios. This entire journey through the glowing sea was amazing and so immersive. I even had a full fight with a Deathclaw inside of a volcano. That's some epic boss battle kind of stuff. Virgil shared some secrets with us and tasked us with finding a Corsair inside Green Tech Genetics. I tried to do some trading with a Wastelander, but she decided to walk away mid-trade once I noticed she had handcuffs. Must have been ashamed of her kinks. I mean, I'm not one to judge, so I let her leave peacefully. Once inside Green Tech, shit hit the fan. Really fast. Turns out that there is only one good weapon that I own, the AUG. Every other weapon is terrible against the enemies inside Green Tech. After fighting through hordes and hordes of enemies, I came across a new PPSH. It was beautiful and felt amazing to shoot. It could shoot hundreds of bullets per minute. Hundreds of bullets that did absolutely no damage. Back to the AUG we went. After seeing me shoot a Molotov out of the air, some gunners decided to put down their weapons, knowing they stood no match. After shooting that Molotov out of the air, I felt pretty badass, you know? Well, that feeling left once I met the Corsair because this man had all of the health. I died so many times trying so many different tactics to kill him. Silently with my sniper, shooting mags and mags into him with jet, nukes, everything. Nothing worked. I couldn't even speak to him either with my low charisma. Eventually, I managed to find a spot where he didn't come into and I dwindled his health down to nothing, finishing him off with a nuke. The only issue with the nuke was that everyone died. Sometimes sacrifices must be made, and I'm not doing that fight ever again. With the Corsair chip in hand, I headed out to find vendors to stock up in 5.56 ammo since the AUG is the only viable gun for this run. I bought some ammo for my 50 cal also, bought an M1 Garand just to hear the reload sound, and headed out to find a railroad so I can get the Corsair chip decoded. I used all of my ammo straight away on ghouls, and I regret nothing because this was the most satisfying thing ever. I used the M1 Garand on a Super Mutant's nuke and made my way inside the Old North Church to meet the railroad. Little do the railroad know, I've already made my mind up who I'm siding with for this run and it's not them. So after they decoded the Corsair chip for me, I ran my little ass back to Dance, who, like a loyal little doggo, was still sitting in ArcJet systems. I went down to the Cambridge police station to meet him and his naked friends, and then Dance invited me onto his airship, which I gracefully accepted. You know, I thought it was just Halen and Rice that were on drugs and took their clothes off, but I was wrong. Everyone on the ship was naked. Surely the Pridwin had AC, right? I even met with their naked leader and damn, he was packing. This naked cult leader tasked Dance and I with killing muties in a nearby fort and spreading our nudist beliefs. I was originally terrified by how much health the behemoth had. I pumped so many of the minigun bullets into him and it took ages to kill him and his friends. Turns out the behemoth or mutants didn't have that much health, it was just that the minigun was absolute dog shit. The AUG destroyed everybody though. I leveled up and added 2 non-auto gun damage for my M1 Garand and then stormed the fort. This was easily cleared and didn't take me overly long. The AUG made quick work of everybody. Naked Maxon finally wanted to talk about my plans to build a teleporter after I did him a few favors. I needed a few parts to build a teleporter base, so over to the USAF station for a circuit board I went. I shot the boob off a mannequin, blew a few raiders' heads off with my 50 cal, grabbed my circuit board and went back to the Boston airport. Maxon sat naked and watched me build, which I thought was a bit strange. Must be some fetish. I've been fairly hostile this playthrough, so I decided to try play this section a bit nicer and not shoot on sight. Plus, it would be a bit difficult considering I couldn't even see with this realistic lighting. After helping Dr. Lee and overstaying my welcome, I decided to leave. Once again, my lack of charisma proved to be a hindrance. With no ability to talk my way to the surface, I had one other option to escape. I had to shoot my way out. This was way tougher than I thought it would be and I died a couple of times. I died a lot of times actually, especially since I wasn't expecting the entire Stormtrooper army at the top of the elevator. After escaping by the skin of my teeth, I told our naked leader man about the Institute and he instructed me to build Prime. In order to gather nukes for Prime, I had to venture into the glowing sea again. I figured rather than walking the whole way, I'd fast travel. I figured wrong because every time I tried to fast travel, I'd die when it loaded the area. I ran past the Deathclaw, watched some nukes in the distance, and entered into Sentinel Site Prescott. My main mission here might have been to find nukes, but realistically it was to find Radaway because I was about to grow a 4th leg. Except for me accidentally leaning to my death, the interior was pretty easy to complete. I managed to get the nukes in record time, but the outside was another story. I had to head back to Ingram and to Pridwin, but I had no Radaway, no Rad-X, and very high radiation. Not only did I have high rads and no means to cure them, ghouls had the building swarmed and prevented me from fast traveling. I finally managed to eradicate the ghouls in the area, fast travel, and you guessed it, I died. I loaded up a previous save and went back inside to loot for Rad-X and Radaway. They made absolutely no difference because I still died fast traveling. So on foot I went. Just when I thought I had gotten over the hardest bit, I met the hardest enemy yet. This was easily the most difficult fight I've had so far during the playthrough, but I feel that it made it more fun and added to the challenge. I'd bore you guys by describing it too much. A lot of shooting and dying occurred. With all of Prime's parts somehow in my backpack, I made my way back to Ingram to boot up Prime. As a reward for my troubles, I reached level 18 and was able to use my 5 perk points. I got the Medic, Rifleman, Toughness, and 2 Bloody Mess perks. While doing this, it also occurred to me that I could have used radiation perks in the Glowing Sea to make that area so much easier than it needed to be. Our naked leader man told me that the railroad needed to be neutralized, and like the little bloodthirsty soldier I am, I obliged and made my way over. The reason I've been so hostile this playthrough is because all the mods added in this collection make it so satisfying to kill people. It's so fun and satisfying leaning around corners and pinging heads off. That's exactly what I did at Old North Church. I joined my naked brothers in battle against a railroad. Seriously, these new Brotherhood recruits are so badass they don't even need armor. I killed absolutely everyone inside. Not a soul was left alive. Well, technically one soul was left alive because I met a ghost, but apart from that, even Pam ate dirt. After successfully ending the railroad, Ingram and I flew to Mass Fusion to get a beryllium agitator. This was way more challenging than I expected because, as I mentioned earlier, the minigun in the vertibird might as well shoot marshmallows. I got killed multiple times before I could even leave the vertibird. Even once I managed to get off the vertibird and into cover, I was still getting killed left and right by these synths. The M1 Garand came in clutch here once I ran out of AUG ammo and I finally managed to clear everyone out. Mass Fusion set me up really good for ammo and weapons for the end of the game since all of the synths also used AUGs. We now had the beryllium agitator and could boot Prime up fully. We fought our way to CIT alongside Prime. This was harder than normal because Prime nearly nuked me, stole my kills, and then stood on some random NPCs, but we made it. I could feel the end approaching now as we nuked our way into the Institute. Having the Brotherhood with me helped a lot inside the Institute, but it was still extremely difficult and I died quite a bit. Unfortunately, my reflexes kicked in when I saw Father was strapped and I put him down. We placed our explosives inside the Institute and began our exit. Baby Sean met me on the surface with Ingram and I decided to keep him. He can do some chores around the house. I hate loading the dishwasher. And there we have it. We rose to the top of the building and pressed a beautiful big red button to finish the Institute off. That answers our question of can we beat Fallout 4 while escaping from Tarkov? Yes we can, although not very easily. Now of course this challenge can be done, we're simply beating the game with mods, but I do have to say that I enjoyed this mod collection a lot. Between the graphical updates, the new weapons that were added, and even the gameplay overhauls, it made it way more realistic and changed the Fallout 4 experience completely. It was very refreshing. If there was a damage rebalance so that enemies weren't as bullet spongy, I think this mod collection would be 100%. If you guys have any recommendations for other Fallout mod collections you want to see, do let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and if you didn't, then a dislike. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated when I upload future content. Thank you all very much for watching. Until next time.